I love it.
A great opening quote.
Also
today, because our guest...
Our mysterious guest.
A mysterious guest, which reminds us, welcome back
Oh.
to the Star Wars Guys podcast. As always, we are your host, Mike.
Hello there.
Myself, Nate. Hello there. Uncle. And you know him not as well.
You will know him
You
well.
will know him.
Never seen him.
You never seen him, but
Never
you're seeing him now.
Some of
live
these,
for the
some of
first
these
time.
podcasters.
Micah.
Hello there.
We got Micah.
Some say.
Oh!
Hey!
What is
Whoa!
What is this? What a
Okay.
shocker!
Wow.
I had no idea. I feel like I just got Ellen.
Wait.
I just got Ellen DeGeneres.
Come back on this side. Right
Listen,
here. Just get right down here by the phone.
who actually was in on this? Because I didn't know he was behind me the whole
I told
time.
him, I said,
Oh
you can
my
be in it for a
goodness.
second, but you
That
gotta
was
hide,
incredible.
and they can't
Awesome.
see you at all.
That shocked me.
That was Ellen, and they just hidden in the thing.
we don't have
comes
enough
up.
ping pong.
That was amazing.
To explain, that is not Ellen.
It is
No,
not
that is
Ellen.
not
Ellen.
No, we did not
No.
get Ellen DeGeneres
No.
on the
We did
cast.
not.
Yet.
All right.
That is Yoda.
Say goodbye to the cast.
Goodbye, guys.
Incredible.
I love it. Greatest intro.
We're
We
casting
gotta
at
see.
night.
We
It's
are.
a night cast
A
for a while.
nightcast. We got
Night
people in the
cast,
chat
yeah.
too.
For
We got
once in a
Derpy
while.
in there. Says the goats are back.
Wow.
And that makes one of us. Mike.
I'm back.
It's like, when does that come
That
on?
can't be me.
I want to see that podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're excited for today's episode. Obviously, with having Micah on, we're looking forward to having him on. as a
Mike is
guest,
my
and-
15-year-old son.
yeah.
Why did that sound like Trump? It's my 15-year-old son.
Well, it's Father's Day weekend, and
That's
we need
why.
proof of
proof of fatherhood. Proof of fatherhood. They said, "I've got kids." They said, "Prove it."
Prove it.
Chet said, "Prove it." Throw the kids on the air, and he said, "We'll do it. We'll
He
throw the
said,
kids on the air."
Micah, I'm your father.
Yeah.
But we're excited. We're going to be diving
That's
into
off
what
the
are we
rails.
diving into, Mike?
Michael,
Oh,
what's the
now that
topic?
there's a Mike and a Micah,
Now
I
it's
need to
tricky.
listen close because
You
I
do.
turned
What
even
was
though
the topic
I
I
know
told
my
you?
name.
Animation.
Oh,
Star Wars
Animation.
animation.
Star Wars
Part of it.
Animation. We're hitting a few things tonight. We got
Man.
Star Wars Animation because there's the announcement a while ago, but we haven't really talked about much
yeah,
on the
I somehow
cast of
missed
the
it.
Maul Shadow
The
Lord
mall, yeah, the mall.
animation show. Sam Witwer has talked a little bit about it in some interviews
Yeah.
about him, I think, even being in the development process with it, not just
Yeah.
as an actor, but like
Yeah.
helping
Actually
craft
helping,
the story.
yeah.
He might even
Oh,
have
that's
a
cool.
producer credit, I think, on it based on.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's been in
Sam
the
Witwer,
rooms
the
with
voice of
He's in the
Maul
weed.
and
Witwer, the voice of
Clone
Maul
Wars
in the
and
Clone
game
Wars
and the video game.
and Rebels,
Rebels,
and
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we had been talking about before, so that's one of the things we're talking about. We'll dive into that in just a few minutes. But we're also going to be talking about some of the news / rumors. They sound like it's pretty confirmed news, but we just say rumors sometimes because it's not from Kathleen Kennedy's
Right.
mouth about who her successor
Yeah.
or successors
Yeah.
will be. There were some articles that came out in the last week or two
Right.
talking about who might
Right.
be, it's been now confirmed by Kathleen Kennedy that her time will be coming to an end sometime relatively soon as
Yeah.
far as her position as the head of Lucasfilm. And that will be, she'll be passing the baton to
Heavy
someone
crown.
or a couple people. And we'll discuss what that sounds, what that could be, because there's rumors as far as who that is and what that means for Star Wars moving forward, and what
I'm just getting animated. I'm getting excited.
If you're curious about the rumors, it's in the description for the video.
yes, exactly. I love that I'm like teasing it.
Don't watch
so-
us. Just read.
There's a number of things we're going to talk about today, but
Yeah.
we're excited. I think maybe we'll start, and then there's also a little
Actually
bit of
put in that we're gonna rank them.
Rank 'em.
rank.
Just put them in there.
Yeah,
Rank-
well,
I like it.
I like it.
All right.
Rank.
I thought, well, Mike
You're talking
hasn't
about
seen all of them.
rank the successors
Rank
of.
the success.
So
rank the
you're
Kathleen
like
Kennedy
So
successors.
we're like Ralph McQuarrie.
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
Okay.
think,
Phil Tippett. We're just going. We're going longevity. Just whoever was there day
Guys.
one is going to get the job.
Derpy makes a good thing. We'll talk about this too in the chat. So-
Derpy makes a good thing. That
Derpy.
sounds like a child's book as far
I've
as
seen
makes a
some
good
of these
thing.
things.
he makes a good thing.
He makes a good thing. He in other news,
Ooh, there
We got the return of the greatest Star Wars parody ever in Spaceballs 2 coming.
Spaceballs
Ooh,
2.
Yes, you see they put out the
That's
little.
right.
They put out
It's
the
called
little
Return of the
teaser.
Schwartz. What's the subtitle?
Yes.
Return of the Schwartz.
They put in there the Schwartz Awakens too.
They
I don't know if
did.
that's the name, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
in the
That's a good
actual like
I
montage
saw
little
that,
crawl
yeah.
thing that they had that
Man.
came out. They said the Schwartz Awakens 2027,
Mel Brooks is.
and
He's still going, right?
he's still going.
He's got his.
He gave a
98.
he gave an
no
updated.
way.
I think that's what I saw.
Oh my goodness.
He gave an actual updated video too of himself talking about in
He
in
was
that
so
little
Mel
release.
Brooks,
He was the one
Micah,
talking about.
You've seen Young Frankenstein.
Mhm.
What
Yep.
are the Mel Brooks? That's probably the only one you've seen.
Spaceballs.
Have you seen?
Just name the
Have you seen
Uh-huh,
Spaceballs?
yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's
But yeah.
Funny.
it's exciting.
So
that
Spaceballs 2.
And
After
that's
all this
where
time.
Chappelle got his start. That's the first time I ever saw Chappelle. Was in a Mel Brooks movie. He was in Robin Hood.
Oh.
Robin Hood.
Ooh.
Totally different, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
goofy character.
yeah.
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 Wow.
I think he'll do well.
I think he's got potential.
Not just Mel Brooks. I mean Chappelle. I think
Chappelle?
that's, yeah, he saw something.
He's
in it.
98
He'll
too.
do all-
He looks
Hey,
young.
He's doing great for
He's
98.
really doing well.
Wow, top of his game. So
Top of his
we will take it
All right.
from the top as far as the first thing we mentioned, the mall show. We'll talk about that a little bit. We
Yeah.
wanted to rank, do
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
ranking from that.
Can you rank some shows? Do you feel good about that?
Oh, sure. I can rank some shows.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, just fake it. That's what I do.
All right.
Breaking Bad, Lost.
Just any
Just
show.
ranking
Well,
shows.
if we
There
do
you
a
go.
Lost Cast,
That's the Lost Cast.
We're doing a rewatch right now. Taylor's never seen
Are
it.
you?
And
Such a good show.
what are you
incredible.
on?
season 3.
To me, it
Oh.
all like runs together now. I can't.
I know.
I can't.
Season
distinguish.
3. Well, I don't want to spoil it
Don't
unless she's
spoil it.
unless she's
We're at
watching.
the beginning of it.
Do you know
Season
how much do you know about Lost? I mean, you've watched it, but do you
Yeah.
know like everything that's coming?
I mean, all the big
I wouldn't
things.
remember.
There's other things, like minor things here and there that I don't remember until I see it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that happened.
I was
Big
hesitant to
picture
go
stuff,
like. I don't want to ruin it. Have you seen John Locke in a wheelchair? Like if it's like you throw something out
Yes,
there.
that
you
is
just ruin
in
the whole
episode.
show.
Yeah.
that is
So
in
it's like,
episode
have you
4.
seen- I remember it's called Walkabout.
The answer is
Walkabout.
no.
Okay.
Whatever you're
Yeah.
gonna ask, no.
Darn it.
That is in episode
Taylor,
4
turn
of
this
season
off.
1, The Walkabout. You were
I
correct.
actually might be
Yeah.
watching this.
That reveal
Darn it.
Um,
I'm gonna have a count
with a Michael Giacchino score that just crushes it
Beautiful.
throughout
Yeah.
Lost.
Yeah.
Jack Shepherd.
Welcome to the Lost Cast.
But yeah, well, so let's do it. Let's just
Yeah.
get into it. We've
All right.
got
Let's do
limited
it.
time, so
Do we know
Mall.
all of them? Yeah, go
Mall.
ahead.
You want to talk Mall first?
Yeah, we'll give a quick little. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Number 1 rated show.
well,
Number 1.
talk real quick about your excitement for the show while I pull up the actual screenshot of what were said about the show. So
Yeah.
when you think about a Darth Maul show,
Yeah.
or sorry, a Maul show,
Maul.
no
True.
longer Darth.
Drop the Darth.
what is it?
Just
Just Mall.
Mall.
Simpler.
Cooler.
So it's-
You know what's cooler?
what's the Timberlake? It's
Yeah,
what's his
millions
name?
cooler.
It's the
It's the Napster.
Drop the
the Napster.
Drop
What's his?
the-
Sean Parker.
Yeah,
that's
Sean Parker.
Drop the
Drop the
Just
duh.
later.
So Mall. I'm
When you think
one
Maul, what
that's
are you thinking?
that excites me. It's been rumored for like 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
We've heard about this, and then they announce, Tales of the Empire, and I'm like, oh man, they're not doing the Mall
Going
thing.
around it, yeah.
And then they kind of announced Tales of the Underworld. I'm like, oh, no Mall,
Still.
and then okay,
Mhm.
Mall. So I'm excited about it. I think it's interesting because Mall being the focus naturally kind of gives you more of the darker underworld tones of Star Wars.
Mhm.
That is not something we really see a lot in animation. It's
No.
in there. It's in the Clone Wars, but it's
Yeah,
not the main.
speaking of Night Sister stuff, but it's
Yeah,
not been
some of the
focus.
Night Sister stuff. Even Maul's character at times has some heavier moments,
yeah.
but that's not the premise of
Right.
the show. And with Maul being the focus, his story, I'm wondering what the time period will be. I'm wondering if
Was
we
it a rumor
see
about
any-
it? Somewhere Crimson Dawn? Is it like that?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if we'll get
Yeah.
any Crimson Dawn and like dive more into the underworld, if it's more of Maul still being a freelancer
Right.
like by himself.
Keep
Yeah.
talking because I've got.
So do you,
you
I've actually
remember
got a quote talking
Solo?
about
You
the
watched
actual-
Solo.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Yep.
At the very end, there's Kira, and she's talking to Maul, who's the
Oh,
head
yeah.
of Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
So we're wondering if it's going to be in that, or if
Same
we're going to
here.
get some.
Yeah.
What do you think about a
don't
Maul
know.
show, Micah?
I think he's just a cool character. He's just cool. I really like the darkness of him because
Yeah.
I love the Spider
This
Maul.
guy.
Spider Maul.
Straight to the
Spider
dark.
Maul.
Goes
Love it.
straight to the dark.
Spider Maul.
Spider Maul.
That's the.
Do you
my
remember
favorite
how
Maul.
old you were when you saw episode 1? It's weird because the kids today, it's like in part of them they don't have a moment
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe Nate, you're
Yeah.
kind of maybe.
My
It's
Nate
just been
doesn't
there
remember
for so
pre-
long.
my most vivid memory of the prequels is being at an age where I was fully like understanding and excited to go see Revenge of the Sith. In the
Okay.
movie theater.
Because
There you
Nate was
And I
4
was like,
when
Revenge
Phantom
of the
Menace
Sith,
came out.
Going to see it, and I like.
He was
really,
4 when Phantom Menace came
Phantom
out.
Menace,
Nate was.
yeah.
Nate was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was 8. It was Matt's 10th birthday party is when we
That's
is when we went
wheelhouse,
there.
8.
So even though I
Yeah.
saw Star Wars before then, that was really the time where I was
The
like
others were
more,
kinda just
more
there.
bought in and was like, I'm going to the movie theater
Yeah,
to watch
to
Revenge of the
see,
Sith. Yeah.
So
His was the sequels.
Yeah,
The
I had
sequels.
sequels.
the Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
I was trying to. What I was looking for is there's a couple things of him talking about, but he had said it on Katie Sackhoff's podcast, Voice of
so
Bo-Katan.
good. The one we did with Brendan Wayne. See him on that?
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's so
really good.
She's so nice.
yeah, she really
She's
is.
just really
She has some good questions too because she's also a part of it, so she
Right,
knows
yeah,
like the
yeah.
ins and outs of that business and
Okay.
stuff. Sam Witwer shares details on Maul Shadow Lord. Quote: "It's about bad guys versus worse guys.
Oh.
This isn't
your show,
going to be a
Micah.
show
Gotcha.
where you find out the Maul is actually just really a teddy bear. We are not doing that. But he is as bad.
This is not going to be Boba Fett.
Oh, he said it's not. I
This
missed
is
the
not
not
going to
part.
be.
I thought
He
this
is not
was
going
going
to be.
to be a show.
He's just misunderstood.
big old
He said,
kitty.
"This is not.
Adventurous
Maul
asleep.
is misunderstood. This is not. He's actually a nicer guy or anything." But he said, "But is he as bad as Sidious or Vader? Actually, no.
No.
From the Sith perspective, this guy has flaws, but there's humanity that seeps in at various points because things that have happened to him. Maul will question whether creating the Empire was a good idea. Maul's like, is that what Sidious had in mind? This is a little scary when it actually comes to fruition. Maul comes from a time of swords, sorcery, magic, and knights, and all of that color of the universe is being sucked out of this mechanized empire. And Maul's like, is this right? Is this the universe we are trying to build?
Oh,
I feel like that's such a great way of putting it too.
It
That
is.
he's like,
It is.
he is this,
more
this magic-like
mystical.
being,
It does
and it's
give a time
becoming
frame
this
kind of
industrialized empire.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a technological terror.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
And so I think that's cool. I mean, that gives us a sense of kind of
Yeah.
what to
Great.
expect. Also, he went on to said also like we're excited because obviously it is Maul. There's going to be awesome fights. There's going to
Yeah.
be some kind of really cool stuff. But he's going to go on. He's going to be They didn't tell us if it's going to be Crimson Dawn or not. But as far as the time, it makes sense that could be the time period they're playing in. We know what happens post.
Yeah, we know.
Here we go.
Rebels.
We don't know the missing piece of how he. I guess it could be how he ends up on because is he Malachor? Where is he when Rebels starts? Rebels, because I think they find him in Rebels.
Yeah, maybe.
That's
yeah.
when he
think it is.
shows up, right? And we don't
Yeah.
know yet how he gets there because we
Yeah,
know the
that's
end
right.
of Clone Wars.
That was
Yeah.
a freaky episode.
Yeah,
It was like.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got the Inquisitor who shows up, and
Oh,
then
man.
they're messing with Ezra, and Ezra doesn't know who's good or
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
and,
that's great.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I mean, a Maul thing always excites me, but it also sounds like I like the perspective that he's talking about of like these big, from a Maul perspective, like a philosophical question of just like, I'm questioning the Empire not just because I didn't get what I wanted.
Yeah.
Like obviously I have revenge versus Sidious, and I have whatever. I feel a certain way about Kenobi because of all those certain things. But as far as the galaxy goes, this maybe seems like maybe not the best thing.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing from a bad guy's
That's
Yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
because you can be bad and even be murderously bad, but not be Palpatine.
That's
Not
right.
be so.
Yeah.
There's an in between there, and
For
I think
sure.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. That makes me excited, even more excited for the show,
It's
for the
gonna be
idea.
great. And Filoni, the master of animation at Lucasfilm, is gonna.
Oh yeah.
You
Should
got
run this whole
him with
thing.
Whitwer,
That's his wheelhouse.
who are
man.
the
Yeah.
guys who have been there, him doing the
Yeah.
animation and him with Sam since literally Sam was doing Force Unleashed for video
Yeah.
I
games,
thought you were
pre
gonna
all
say
that
selling
stuff.
popsicles on Highway 5 because he sold some good popsicles.
Well, it's have you had the ones he did off 44? Do you
I
remember
missed
that
those.
summer?
No.
The blueberry? Oh my goodness.
That's my from Wicked. I
Yeah.
love it. Just mommy and popsicle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. Can you, Micah? Can you call me Daddy Popsicle now? Mommy and popsicle. It's kind of weird.
So good.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Very excited.
It's gonna be great.
We
Yeah.
get into a little
Did
ranking
they
of-
gave a time. They said
as
when?
far as when it comes
26,
out.
right? Wasn't it?
I think it comes out in 26.
26,
yeah.
26.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't hear like a day as far as what time of the year in 26,
I
but
think
next
so.
year.
Star Wars Day.
Could be.
Hope
Why
so.
not?
Could be.
Yeah.
Animation ranking before we get on to some Kennedy, Kathy stuff. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Can you rank
Yeah.
shows?
Let's-
What
I
have
haven't
you?
seen a lot of animated stuff.
Let's-
I saw the early Clone Wars,
but
that's not the good Clone Wars.
well, that's okay. You know enough.
That's all right.
And
Give me your 10 top
Rebels?
10 Roger Rogers.
We can even give episodes, maybe. Well, like episode.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What about? Did you get any of Bad Batch?
hmm
You
I
did.
got first.
You got 'em- You got most.
I
of
got
Bad
first season and like halfway through the second.
Okay.
Batch. Okay.
Okay. We got Bad
We could
Batch.
even
I'm
do
a little
less.
mad when I
We
hear
can
that
do
stuff.
a little.
Tales of the Jedi. Any of those?
We could do
So the-
less of a
Tales of
ranking.
the Empire.
Yeah.
Tales of the Jedi.
If we don't even need to do a ranking, we can even just throw out some of our favorite stuff.
Yeah,
from
let's
each
do
of the
that.
Things. If
Let's
we
do it.
wanted, that might even be a little bit quicker.
Let's
but
do it. Favorite
um,
moments.
I will start with Bad Batch because
Bad Batch.
I think that if you would have asked me a year ago, well, I should say, if you would have asked me before the
Listen,
final
I
season
know where
of
you're
Bad
going.
Batch.
I know where you're going. And
I
they've
would've
got it
said-
on our
We've already
podcast recording.
I would have said I
can go
like it.
back.
I would have said I really like it. I don't think I like it
I
as
don't
much
see
as
where- I don't
Rebels,
see where
as
this
much
is
as
going.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I don't see where it's going. I kind of feel
Yeah.
like I don't have quite the investment in it. I have now. It also probably is helps as far as how much it is now seeped into like my brain. And when I think about Bad Batch, this is gonna sound crazy.
I love crazy.
It is in my discussion
good
for
quote.
now my favorite of
crazy.
the animation.
Really?
I have watched it the most
That is a little
because Isaiah
Isaiah's in. Yeah.
has watched
Yeah.
it, and it's like one of his favorite shows. So I've watched it over and over, and I'll just say the fact that it's 3 seasons is actually keeps it tighter.
Yes.
It does.
And so here's the reason I bring this up. I love Rebels. I rewatched Rebels recently after watching Bad Batch, and had watched Bad Batch all the way through with Isaiah. He's locked in. He loves all the characters. We watched Rebels, loved it. There is some stuff in the middle of Rebels where it's not.
It's
you know,
looser.
It's
Yeah.
looser. There's also some
Yeah.
things with and again, I prefer the Bad Batch Clone Wars animation style very
yes.
much so than I
Yeah.
do the Rebels animation style.
Yeah.
The story in Rebels is fantastic. Love it. There's so many things in it that I love.
Do we
There's
need
also-
the puffer pigs? That's the
Don't know if we
question.
need to
Not
bring in
sure.
Lando just for puffer pigs.
Maybe.
Like there's a better use for him maybe. But
Yeah, maybe.
but the emotion that I feel watching the end of like honestly watching the end of Bad Batch is one of my favorite finales of
Yeah.
any of the animation
yeah.
stuff. Even though I think
Yeah,
Clone
I
Wars
think-
is fantastic, I think Rebels is fantastic. Ezra shoots off all this stuff
I
that's
think
going
Rebels
on.
has its moments with Kanan.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
this is not
a bashing Rebels.
Bad Batch is more consistent.
This
I
is
think.
more of maybe me saying like I really dig the like Tantus, Tarkin, Krennic
Yeah.
secret meeting on
Hemlock.
this planet doing all these
Hemlock.
Yeah.
Hemlock to
Gotcha.
me is like one of the greatest villains in all of
Hemlock-
Star
Do you remember
Wars.
Hemlock? The guy's like, "Where are you going?"
Oh yeah, that guy's
He's got a hand
Don't
issue.
be
Yeah.
afraid.
Huh.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What's in there?
Turns
Michael
out,
Jackson issues.
Yeah.
Turns out, Omega, you might be.
Remember that episode when you went?
He always gets on his toes.
He does.
What else gets on his stuff?
He says a lot of
Walks
spinning.
By the way,
backwards.
Paul Rubens, the documentary Paul Rubens, how did he do that toe walk?
He kept doing
He
that.
does a toe walk
He did-
full on.
Did he not do it? Because you
tennis
see,
shoe- I saw him do it in
That's
tennis
what I was gonna
shoes.
say. He does it like in Chuck Taylor's.
Yeah.
Because he does it in Pee Wee, and he's on the thing, and he's
And
on
he's
the thing.
doing
And
it.
I thought when he did it in
Those
Pee Wee, I
shoes.
thought, is he honestly? I thought like, is he on a wire? Is
Right.
the shoes
Yeah.
like? Are they doing something that's manipulating? They show him doing it live.
He
when
did it on
he's
the
doing
Gong
some
Show.
improv. He did it on the Gong Show
Oh my god.
In Chuck Taylor tennis shoes.
before he
toe
ever made
walking
his
for the
super
whole
famous.
song. Like-
And like not like this on top of the toes.
That
I'm
is
so glad you
insane.
called that out because I immediately paused it and rewound it and said,
Ow.
"Wait
I
a
did
second,
too.
what is
Insane.
going on here?"
Sorry. So when Hemlock did that, we were just blown
That's for
away.
the Paul Rubens cast.
Yeah.
Pee Wee cast.
Pee Wee
Hemlock
No,
did
so
do
this is a
that.
long way to start this off, but I was just
Yeah,
gonna say
great
Bad Batch
character.
has skyrocketed up
yeah.
for me.
I mean,
and obviously Clone Wars is maybe like the cream of the crop, like as far as it has just so much, and I
Yeah,
love
it's
that time
vast.
period also of like Anakin, Dooku legacy characters. To basically start from scratch with characters that I don't know,
Right.
because these Bad Batch are a new set
that
of
are all
characters.
clones.
They're all clones.
Clones.
New bad guys, like the villains, even the villains that are in the show.
Yeah.
Rampart's a great villain. He's like a mustache twirling classic villain.
Yeah.
And then Hemlock is a different, like soft spoken, scarier villain
Frightening,
because of that.
Yeah.
Like a mad scientist, evil doctor villain.
Yeah.
I just think that show's fantastic. So I'm excited.
It's incredible.
That actually ties into some of the stuff we're talking about later with successors, because Carrie Beck overseeing a lot of that, especially because I think Bad Batch, Filoni was less involved than any of the other animated shows. I think they said because
Really?
I think he helped launch it, and then
Yeah.
because he was doing The Mandalorian,
Oh man.
there was other people who actually did
All right.
Oh, okay.
more of
Good hands.
did more of that. I think he was
Yeah.
still like involved in it a lot, but it was less than I think than the others.
Yeah.
My understanding.
I'm curious. I want to throw this out there for Micah.
Ooh.
I forgot he was
not-
here.
Oh.
Not
I'm
for
back.
what.
And Eli, jump back up.
Whoa!
He's back.
He's just
There's a
waiting.
secret
Eli's
door.
just waiting for me to take a sip, so it spills all over.
Not just
Crazy.
from what you've seen, but something that you haven't seen. What would be something in the Star Wars world? It could be anything that, if it were animated, is something that you would like. Because we've had this conversation on
That's
What
a
do we
great question.
when we've made predictions
what you want,
on
what you
on the
really
shows. Like, what animation show would you like to see?
Yeah.
Like a
I'm curious
character or a
what
time
your
period
thoughts
or-
are,
Ooh.
especially having a slightly different perspective than each of us, with being mostly sequel raised, I guess,
Right.
and that. What is something that you would gravitate towards if you could make a Star Wars animation show, or what story would be attractive to you?
Great question.
Just like, would be a good one. I want to see more of a Finn backstory.
Ooh,
That'd be
I
cool.
like that.
Like
Yeah.
how
Okay.
he grew up and all that stuff.
Sequel
Maybe him in
animation.
the
That's
Imperial
good.
Academy
Mhm.
getting
That'd be cool to
into a
see.
little bit of the
Could do
Empire
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool. I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
That is good. He like Tales of the First Order,
Ooh.
but it's Finn.
Oh, that'd be
Finn is
cool.
one of the. It shows like when he first got taken into
Yeah.
the. That'd be cool.
Uh-huh.
I think there's
I thought of a
you got
working
me
title.
thinking. What?
The
Let's hear it.
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. I like it. It's him and three
Fantastic
other
Clone.
troopers.
And
The
you could get,
Fantastic-
non-Pedro
Trooper.
Pascal in a helmet. Do the whole show with it.
True.
Wow, I
true.
like it. I like it.
Brendan
Wait,
Wayne.
it's Brendan Wayne doing all of them.
Fantastic Four with Brendan
but
Wayne.
for some reason, Pedro's gonna voice them all. They're like, Brendan, we just
That's so
don't
great.
like your voice.
Right. I would
You do
imagine
such a great job.
So
with
they
the physical
tapped into
stuff.
all those other shows after they kind of went past. Some time passed.
Yeah,
I could see that being a thing.
I could see
The
I
that.
think so,
sequel
too.
characters
They
being an animation.
They haven't done it with
done any really
the Tales yet.
animation for the sequel
Uh-uh.
generation. Think about it. I mean, we
No.
haven't had really. I mean, they had like Lego, like
Right.
they kind of did some of the Lego stuff that touched on a little bit of that
Mhm.
era with Ray.
Yep.
Um,
That's some comic.
I love that idea
But-
because
yeah, no.
if you did
animation.
like a Tales of the Jedi of something like that, you can pick two characters to focus on, like
Yep.
two main characters.
Yep.
Love that. I think Finn would be great. And honestly, get like I mean, maybe that'd be too similar because they're both stormtroopers, but like a
Babu?
Phasma.
Oh yeah.
Phasma.
Because I think Phasma's a character that I think
There's a lot there. We
Like,
didn't.
there's
Like-
a lot there. As
And,
much
like,
as I love the
Finn
sequel trilogy,
counterpart, too.
Yeah.
Feels like
And we
that was
know they're on a
character that
collision
wasn't
course.
fleshed out a whole
For
lot.
sure. Yeah.
they're on direct collision course because
Because
they
maybe
literally
she-
fight.
She was his superior. Maybe she was there when he came in, and
Yeah.
could be a whole thing there.
Be
True.
cool. Honestly, there's a lot in the sequel trilogy that I totally understand, especially with movies being announced and things coming in the future. That maybe we don't want to tell this story, but
Quite yet. Yeah, that's true.
take a backstory of one of those
Yeah.
characters.
True.
I think is a
Yeah.
great
Could.
safe
Yeah.
way to do that. Of we're not stepping on toes of who's coming next, but
Yeah.
we can say what happened. I mean, I know there's books, so I know
Some of the
anyone
comics are-
reading this might know.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a Phasma novel that
Mhm.
talks all about this.
Yeah.
But I mean, doing that in animation,
The title is
would be-
Phasma 4.
Phastastic Four.
I couldn't pull it out. I was
I
close.
like that.
Phasmatic.
But yeah,
The
no, that's
Phas-
good.
Oh, that's the dryer we just bought. The Phasmatic.
That is good. A little Finn.
It's a Phastastic Mr. Fox.
Fantastic,
It's just-
Mr. Fox.
Little Finn.
Hey, trivia
I
for
like
you.
that.
Oh, no.
Podcast trivia.
Oh.
You know
The Muffin Man.
Finn's call sign is his trooper number. It's not call sign. It's trooper number.
Where he got his name?
Where he got his name?
There's I don't know it. I used to know it.
You did.
I did used
That's
to
why
know
I
it.
asked, because I thought you had it. FN. I can hear Phasma.
Oh yeah.
There's a 4 in it, right?
There's not a 4 in it.
What?
First number is
Multiples of 4.
first
A bunch
number
of
is
those.
2.
2?
Two.
I don't know.
What's before
We are
2?
not changing topics until you get it.
2-1.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2-2.
Oh no, it's
So
not.
close.
What?
FN 2187. Submit your blaster for
Oh.
inspection.
Submit your
Remember
blaster
who-
for inspection.
Who told you to remove your helmet?
I was
FN
just
2187.
FN 217.
Cell block.
Cell block.
217.
Right.
One way up. Sorry, but I think of cell blocks now. I just think of
Keep mixing those in my brain.
I put them
together.
wait. I rewatched Andor season 1, obviously before the season 2. How funny would it have been if when he
He did
looks
that.
when Andor looks at Kino and goes, "It has to come from you. You have to tell him." And he gets on there and goes,
She got
"Strong."
How about the fake out? We all thought there was reports of Kino Loeb returning.
Yeah.
Because what's great is I always thought that.
I know.
I always
There
thought
were.
that actually felt like a stretch for the story.
Yeah.
Because I remember when
How
that was
is that
reported, I
gonna-
was like, wait,
he
I
can't
thought it was
swim.
he couldn't swim. That was the whole point. Like that's an emotional
Got
ending for
another
him.
way.
Uh,
2 ways out.
all the doors were open.
Look, there's
They're
a
all
door.
jumping off, and he's going, "Take the boats! Take the boats!"
That's true. How would Kino get out? We
That's so
spent the
good.
whole show talking about one
It
way
would
out.
undermine his
There's
own
actually
thing.
2 of them. There was
Yeah.
another way.
I would have loved to see him ruling over Dedra when she got placed.
Great.
It's true. Inmates. Feet off the floor. What does he say? She's like, put your feet up. Poor
So good.
Dedra.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk forever about the animation stuff, but I think it's one thing that's really cool seeing the animation always progress. Like going back and watching animation
mocap
from
now,
going. I
Man.
mean, even
The
when they
style is
finished,
The
just-
mall fights are going to be so good.
Every
that's what
new
I'm saying, when they
animation
finish
project
season
that comes
7.
out too, they're keeping with the Clone Wars animation, which I like.
Yeah.
But it's like every single time it's fine tuned. It's like just looks a little better, a little better. It's just unbelievable what they're
The
doing.
animation at the last season of Clone Wars felt like the prequel Spaceships.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
This is like I feel like
Really?
it's the
No, it
stuff
really
coming
does.
out.
Yeah.
The same.
that's how far it's come.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
I think we need a backstory on Cyril's mom.
true.
Give me an Uncle Harlow spinoff.
Give me an
Uncle
I like when Dedra's like, Uncle Harlow's a bum.
I looked him
know.
up.
I know what
he's
he's
trying.
trying. And don't let me get me started on Miracle Hollow.
Yeah.
Uncle Harlow.
So great.
It's great. Do we want to shift
What's
to a
next?
little?
Yeah, let's
okay,
shift.
so here's one of the big topics today we want to talk about. Kathleen Kennedy and the report that her successor, let's actually pull up, start talking about your favorite Kathleen Kennedy quotes.
Animation.
Go,
Oh,
go,
love
quotes.
it. We're gonna need a bigger boat. That's the first one. Love that one.
That was her who said that,
And,
right?
yeah.
Because she played Brody.
My favorite Kathy story.
Was she the mayor in Jaws?
She was
No,
the mayor.
Oh
And
wait,
then
was
they
it
had
her
to
who
get
No,
a
I'm just
different
kidding.
guy.
I'm just kidding.
Goldie will.
I like the sound of that. This is off the rails. I'm just trying to find this Kathleen Kennedy
By the
quote.
way,
so I
I want
wanted
to know
to
who you
get
have to
this.
thank for the animation of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. Kathy Kennedy was the
True.
Yeah.
because they had this thing going, and nobody thought it would work, and they put this whole thing together. Kathy Kennedy came in and saw it. I was like, Steven, I want to take a look at this because I think this is really good. And then that became, they threw out all the computer, fired Phil Tippett, set up a whole firestorm. No, they didn't fire Phil Tippett. He became part of it, taking what they know about stop
Yep.
motion, but Kathy Kennedy was the
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg called the greatest producer.
Chris,
Nick
in,
Cage
in Hollywood history.
Hollywood history.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Just
Spielberg.
say it again for the
Steven
cast.
Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg called Kathleen Kennedy the greatest producer of all time.
He's
How
worked
about
with.
That's it.
And what does he know though?
I mean,
Isn't he that guy who just went way over shooting schedule making that shark
stupid
movie?
water movie.
Yeah.
50 years ago. Who cares about that?
Yeah.
Dave
Only put his
Filoni.
life on the line.
Reports are, I believe it was. I
So
forgot the
Kathleen
screenshot.
Kennedy's successor. Rumors that
Rumors are that her successor,
those
'cause
successors
being
Does it take two
Kathleen
people to
Kennedy
do her job?
takes two
and
people to do it.
co-Lucasfilm would be the co-head of Lucasfilm with executive Carrie Beck, which Carrie Beck, you see her in a lot of the credits. She is already a high up executive. I don't remember what her official title is. I think from my understanding, think of Filoni doing more of the creative and she doing more of the executive, shareholder,
Yeah.
that type of stuff. We've said before, I don't see Dave, and there's not a knock against Dave. A lot of people think
don't see
what
anybody.
Kathleen. A lot of people think that Kathleen Kennedy is like, all right, we're just gonna do this story, and that's my job, and I kick my feet up and like she's on calls with Bob Iger and
Right.
investors and has to go over budgets. That's not a Filoni. I mean, like, I don't.
Not a Filoni
To my
path.
knowledge, he has no experience doing that.
Or
that
maybe
doesn't
desire.
feel or desire to do that.
Yeah.
And so to me, I've always been a little. So I'll just kick this off. I am wondering because I will share with you all. I have a little bit of not necessarily
Trepidation?
not necessarily mixed feelings.
Hatred?
No, I will say
Vitriol?
I am a little nervous. Here's what I'll say. Not about the future of Star Wars. I'm not nervous about that. But I think this is possibly one of those situations where it's so easy. I'll use a sports analogy. It's so easy to say this coach needs to be gone or this person needs to be gone. You're like, great. Now who do we hire?
Right.
Like, did you have someone that was right back? Or did you have someone that was in
Yeah.
mind? Or did you have... And it's so easy for people, especially on YouTube or, internet people to be like, Kathleen Kennedy made this and I stink, that stinks and whatever. You see, I accidentally said I stink because that's what the trolls, they actually
They
stink.
do. I've read it.
But when you actually think of it, you're like, so what, you would hire an outsider to come in and you just know for sure that they have a better vision of Star
Yeah.
Wars, that they have, and then people for years are like, oh, we should have Dave do it. And then the reality is, Dave is an animation guy, and this is Dave's own words. Like, I'm an
Yeah.
animation guy.
Right.
I have never made a movie in my
The keeper
life.
of the
Even when he
lore.
came into live
Yeah.
action, he's like, I've never.
He's talked about like, oh, it's so great working with Jon Favreau on his movie as a producer because I've never done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's never made live action Star Wars until Jon Favreau
right.
helped him do it with The Mandalorian. And obviously now since he's done Ahsoka and stuff, but really, he has no film experience. Carrie Beck also, to my knowledge, has no film experience, but she has a ton of great television creds and a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I say this, I'm not saying they're making a bad move because Kathleen Kennedy has to retire eventually, and
Yeah.
she's getting older.
Not on my watch.
Not my
But
kid.
I will say, it is interesting as we transition into a time of the head of a studio that we all say is defined by its movies,
Yeah.
especially if they're transitioning away from TV
That's right.
Hey,
to now go
Dave,
with.
you two. I know you're big on the animation, the TV. Got a new idea. Take over Star Wars. Also, we're getting rid of
That's
all
what I'm
Star-
saying.
Remember that stuff you love?
We're getting rid of all the Star
No more.
Wars
No more.
Disney Plus stuff. We're going all in on film. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Dave said.
John.
And then Dave
Dave
said.
said, "Can I still have Maul?"
Dave did this. Dave said. What's a movie? I don't know why it sounds like Clint Eastwood,
Dave said-
but he doesn't talk like that at all. But I was doing a little
What's a
cowboy
movie?
thing
Dave
with the
went
hat.
from
It's
the
Dave.
Avatar guy, Avatar
So this is-
animation, to the head of.
And yeah, so
he's sitting on his throne going unlimited.
What have I done?
yeah, so
What have
I
done?
promise I'm not
What
bringing
have
this
I
up to bash Dave at all. This
Yeah,
is just
but
a
we're moving into an area
reminder.
that's not.
This is a reminder. We're moving into an unknown here.
Kathy is
Yeah.
the best producer, and
That's
a
my
natural-
point. Is where I'm going
Yeah.
into this conversation and why I wanted to talk about this. One, we'll go around and give our overall thoughts. Just as
Right.
like when you think about
Yeah.
this, is excited makes sense. I think a lot of us knew that Dave was in the running for this because he's like
He's
the
the
only
story
other
guy.
well-known
He's the
Lucasfilm name.
connection. He's the
And
disciple.
And he's the George connection.
He is the direct
Kathy
pick
was
from
the
George.
connection. Filoni's now the George connection.
But my question, Uncle brought this up months ago, and I listened on the podcast.
Way ahead of the curve.
Listened on the podcast. Uncle brought up months ago that I wonder if Dave. I don't remember if you specifically said about Dave or just who her successor would be. Kathleen Kennedy has a weight about her, and like a people sit up and Kathleen Kennedy is walking in the room. This is Hollywood royalty. This is also someone
Yeah.
who's known as being like tough, and even to the point
Yeah.
where it says in Bob Iger's book, like there are times when she'll tell Bob Iger, he tries to overtime. She says, "No, you're actually wrong." I don't know if Dave would do that.
No.
And what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, I don't know if
Or even should
if you
do
have
that.
I don't know if the successors, and now maybe Carrie Beck is that. Maybe she has
Maybe.
that personality, but obviously she doesn't have the credentials that Kathleen Kennedy
Right.
had when
Listen,
she took
the
over
reason we're
Lucasfilm.
doing co and there's two of you is so that you both know each of you are expendable.
Yeah. That's
Well,
right.
yeah, so this is what it comes down to is I do wonder, like she has this sort of Teflon thing about her
Yeah.
that
Well, she was tenured.
well no, this is the thing though, is that regardless of how her time at Lucasfilm has gone, which I think has been overwhelmingly more positive than negative,
sure.
but there's obviously every time there's some miscues or things that didn't go as well.
Can I
and who
clarify
knows?
one thing about positive?
Go.
It's not what you like.
It made money, and that's what it is.
Security,
It's
Yeah.
babe.
business.
It's part of that.
It's part of it. You want the
There's
brand.
a lot of
You
people
do
that
want, you
liked
want the
it.
fan base.
Yes.
You want the awareness.
You
to
want
be
the brand
But
to
if
be.
the, if the mouse is gonna eat, you gotta bring the cheese.
You got to bring the cheese.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
And,
Mouse gotta eat.
and I know I'm talking a lot to
they
start
were
this off,
Hugely successful.
but it's hugely
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
And I had heard someone talking about this on a podcast recently. Actually, I think it was Ken Knapsack on Force Center who had said
Kylo Ken.
that he had heard, like that he's heard over the years that they actually even mentioned in this article that Kathleen Kennedy has a way about her in a strength like way that they're like, oh no, that's people. I think it actually was Ken who said this, that people said when people were upset at Lucasfilm, because he said I knew some people who worked at Lucasfilm, and when people were upset at Lucasfilm under Kathleen Kennedy, they would whisper, and they would whisper it. When people are upset or have disagreements with Filoni, they're vocal about it in a way that feels like they're not worried about. And so it's not even bashing Filoni. This is more of he was saying this in a positive of Kathleen
Kathleen.
Kennedy
Just the
is
clout.
Kathleen Kennedy has this clout of Steven Spielberg, the greatest filmmaker of all time, says that I am the greatest producer in Hollywood history.
Yeah.
So if you don't like my idea, you can kick rocks. I'm going to listen to you,
Exactly.
but I also know more about filmmaking than you do. It doesn't mean every one of my decisions is right, but if you're going to question me, I do know more about film than you.
yeah.
For sure.
Where Dave has never made a movie. So we are going from the greatest producer in the history of
Not more
Hollywood
than
to
us
has
though
never
who
made a movie.
tweet on the internet.
Wait,
so-
we're talking about us.
No.
We're talking
Yeah,
about
so
them.
I am excited.
don't.
Like I mean, I think I'm excited when you see something move in maybe in like the next wave of
You
something.
have just
But I am
frightened me.
but I am
I hadn't
wondering.
thought about that before.
But I am wondering that we
yeah.
are going from, especially since they're transitioning back to movies. That now she did say.
So
that
what
she
you're
is
saying-
staying on as a producer for a while.
Yeah, I do think the.
But I know I just talked forever. But I didn't mean to scare everyone and drop the mic. But I am saying it's easy to say we want Kath. It's easy to be an internet troll and say we want Kathy gone, and then you go, great.
What next?
Let's look at the roster.
There was a
we
podcaster that
traded
wanted that
Prime
job.
LeBron.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So now who do we have left? You're like, well,
Yeah, I do think they're
You know,
aware. I mean,
we need you to score a lot, Mario Chalmers. Like it's a.
Mario Chalmers.
I said Prime LeBron, so I had to go someone back in the Miami days. So, I'm not sure anyone on the internet is. I'm not sure anyone on the internet has ever compared Filoni to Mario Chalmers. But
That's the first time that's been
I
done.
was just saying,
But-
it is interesting. You have to think about that.
I think, at least it seems like they're aware enough though that with Filoni's side of things to do the co route.
Yeah.
Because I agree. I don't know if Filoni's even interested in that, nor does he seem, from what we know of him, to want to or have the experience of that executive side of things more, whereas it's more on the creative side,
Yeah.
storytelling. And there are people that I've seen online that have voiced some concerns about, like, is Filoni too in depth in the lore?
Mm-hmm.
Like you see,
Is he
the
gonna want to
Ahsoka-
make
It might
a
be
Will's
massive.
movie?
And
might
it was
not be
one of the
mass
things.
appeal,
yeah, is it not going to be mass appeal to the general Star Wars fan as opposed
Right.
to those of us that love going in deep? I think there's a time and place for all of it.
Yeah.
And you talk about the big movies. What brings them the most money is not always the place of diving into the deepest of lore.
Even though we love that stuff.
Even though we
But
love
it's
it,
not.
but that stuff is typically fleshed out in the shows or in. I mean,
Right.
even Ahsoka gets. We talked about it on the cast.
Ahsoka's
a little
not
a little
for
backlash because it's
Rebels
not.
fans much.
Front end.
It's
entry.
not for someone who can just turn on Ahsoka and understand everything that's going on. It
Did you
takes
understand everything in
knowing.
Ahsoka when you watched
Well,
it?
yeah,
You did.
I think so.
We would pause and go, by the way, This is not.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
There might
Did a
be the
little
benefit
bit.
too. Like
He
I was
got
watching
most
it
of
with
that.
obviously my son Isaiah, and I'm like, oh, he
Yeah.
loves it. And I was like, oh, I forgot that I did explain every single character, who they
doesn't
were,
know,
and this is
right.
what it's from,
Yeah.
and this is from.
He's seen Clone Wars.
Now he
and-
watched Rebels with me, but again, he's 3.
So
So
he's
forget
tracking.
what I'm saying. This is
Today,
not- this is
3-year-old
not
Isaiah, I
this
said, "What did
conversation.
you watch today?" We watched Ahsoka, where Ahsoka fell in the water and ended up world between worlds and met Anakin, her master. It's like, really? Okay.
That's what. That's a
Yeah.
It fell in the world
That's a-
between worlds.
And then they were fighting in the
Pretty
Clone
good.
Wars,
Fighting
and
in
he
the
saw
Clone Wars,
Rex.
and he saw Rex.
That's
That's
a
right.
pretty good wrap
Just,
up.
Wow.
That's
So
right.
it was old Ahsoka,
forgot
but
about the
also
Rex.
young Ahsoka.
Forgot about the Rex part.
Yeah.
Zaya's got to get on the cast too.
But yeah, I
Sure.
mean,
Take my spot.
it's. I like to not
I
think
was
of
gonna
too
add a
much
little-
until
little
we
ray
see
of
what
hope.
happens, but
I have a ray of hope.
A New Hope.
Had a ray
A New
or
Hope?
even a Finn or
Is that a
Poe of Hope?
coincidence that Hope and Ray of Hope? I hadn't thought about that before.
Ray,
Mm.
New Hope.
It's like when Trump realized us and U.S. were the same thing. Sorry. Remember that? It's like us. That's us. U.S. It's us. It's us. At one point, Kathleen Kennedy had to make her first movie.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I am a firm believer that the thing that separates true, like high elite pros and like amateur people is the ability to do something at a faster pace. But the common connector is taste.
Mm-hmm.
If you have good taste and you're surrounded by talented people, you're going to
Yeah.
make great stuff. And Dave Filoni has good taste.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he has a good sensibility. This looks
Yeah.
good. This doesn't.
And Kathy
this
has
works, this
said that she
doesn't.
will hang around as a producer for a while.
And
Yeah.
that's
So,
always
like,
been,
that's-
Yeah.
my
that's the
opinion,
thing.
that's always been
True.
on her filmmaking side, that
That's
being
her
able to
sweet
look
spot.
at something and go, that's good, don't do that ever again.
Yeah.
Knowing the difference.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and if Filoni has that and can pull that out,
And what she'll be able to do for him
Lucasfilm
is
has a huge weight behind it.
yeah.
So
And-
people want to work there, so that
Yeah.
could make it.
And what she still
Yeah.
has is the weight of
oh,
this
she
is-
can still make a phone
Yeah.
call.
That's the thing that is the thing that I will worry about long term of when she ever
Yeah.
does retire. It's
Completely
just
out.
completely out of it. Is just that I don't know. Again, Star Wars is Star Wars, but also I don't know if the producer XYZ answers for Filoni as quick as they do for Kathleen Kennedy.
That's right.
But
He's going to just call it her name. It's Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, no, sorry,
It's-
Dave.
Oh,
Quick question. Quick question.
Hey, this is Kathy. And what? That's actually
It's-
Dave
it's
Filoni.
Dave.
Must keep
Filoni.
changing Filoni's voice. Now it's like I don't
You don't
even
have a
know.
Filoni? Neither
Was
of you
that
guys have a
Macho Man?
Filoni
I don't even know
voice?
what that
No,
was. That was
no.
a wrestler. Dave Filoni. I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm just trying to keep changing the voice
Just
every
howl.
time.
Just Hal.
Who
He
was
loves-
that?
He loves his wool.
What in the heck? What voice was that?
Hal. He loves his wool.
Dave Filoni, brother.
Watch it, brother. I'm making animation.
Why is
Now it's all of a sudden, "Arr,
why is
matey."
why is he a pirate
The
or a
Undertaker.
WWE? I don't even know what's going on. What? This is nothing what Filoni
Yeah.
sounds like.
What?
But yeah, when we're looking at that, we're looking at the Filoni, we're looking at Carrie Beck. I think this has been happening. Also, this has been in the works for a while. They don't even start trickling out these rumors. If they didn't know, Filoni got a promotion as far as a job like 2 years ago at this point now, to a different, more. He even said it's a lot more like I'm in the process from the beginning when stuff gets greenlit
Yeah.
and stuff. Versus, like, I used to be the knowledgeable guy at Lucasfilm that they'd run stuff by me and be like, does this match up
Hey,
timeline-wise?
can this guy do this?
Yeah.
No.
So I think that it'll be interesting. Obviously, I don't want Kathleen Kennedy to step away completely until she's ready to do that and to retire. Whenever you want to retire. You've worked forever.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
it is a different thing.
He's called her really old.
I didn't call her really old. I called her ancient. No, I'm just kidding.
I called her wise.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing to
I
think of the actual reality of
Yeah, I think
Man,
someone actually replacing
why
her.
do people have to get old?
even though Filoni's experience isn't one to one with the film, he has had experience at least in the Star Wars universe, in the storytelling. There's been things people have gravitated and liked. There's been things people have not gravitated and liked as much.
Has he been being mentored by
So,
her too?
I think.
mean, that's
Yeah, I wonder.
I have a
I'm
comment
sure.
on that
I'm
too,
sure
'cause-
there's. Listen, Kathleen Kennedy cares about Star Wars. She cares about her legacy. She's not just gonna ride off into the sunset and let this thing go down the drain. I
Right.
think she. I mean, like anybody who's got a career that they're passing on, they want that
Sure.
to be sustained and continue thriving. And
Yep.
yeah, I'm sure they're heavily involved with
Yeah.
Kathy and figuring out how to make things smooth. And like you said, I mean, you got to start somewhere,
Right.
and why not start with someone or two people who
Inside.
have been
In the family.
have been
Yeah.
in the family. They've done the Star Wars storytelling.
Yeah.
They've done things that the fans have responded well, and fans have responded not as well too. They're narrowing in on what the fans like.
Mhm.
They listen to that. I
Yeah.
think, I mean, I think there's hope there, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Hey, Michael had never run a crime family, and look what happened.
Then he did.
True.
It all fell apart and everybody died.
It turned out great.
But still.
But he
Yeah.
still took Fredo out on
He
that
died on the
boat.
steps and killed his own brother.
He still,
that's
still
a
took
bad
Fredo
example.
out on that nice boat ride.
It's a bad example.
But
But
I
it's
did
true.
see. I saw some people point out again. I referenced some of these podcasts. I think it was Ken Knapsack again on Force Center, who said, "Have you noticed that Filoni has done a lot more press recently, especially at Star Wars Celebration, without the cowboy hat?" He said, "I'm just wondering if that is a take me more seriously."
Wow.
Like he's kind of been the animation rogue. Like
I don't know.
this is a
I don't
character
like the
type of a
cowboy
thing.
hat.
Yeah.
They were just wondering if he can't. Is he going to go
Little-
sit down? Is he going to go sit
a
down
little
with
more
Bob
bus-
Iger and the investors, and he's got his cowboy hat on?
Yeah, is he going to be a little
And
more business?
They're like,
He's
is it
flipping
kind of like a
through.
character? You know, it's like a character.
Is this about no cowboy hat?
Yes.
You sign it or not? Fine.
And they were just like, is it just a little bit of no? Like not
Can
that
I keep
not
the
that,
wolves?
Not that there's not that there's
Not
an
that we hate the
immaturity about
hat,
the
but
cowboy
we
hat
hate the
thing,
hat.
but they're like he would play into it over the years over the animation
Yeah.
because he's the man in the cowboy hat. Like that was his.
I kind
Yeah.
of thought
his
that
thing.
was. I like that signature.
I do
So
like
I don't
that.
know. People
Uh,
people
to
were
go
wondering about
away.
that if he's
Now-
if that's
now
part
Carrie
of the.
Beck's wearing a hat, which is weird, but
She is.
mean,
I don't know. I like it. I mean, it's the Steve Jobs wore jeans and a turtleneck, and
That's right.
he didn't wear suits around. He
Never
just walked up and wore what he wanted.
that's exactly right.
That's right.
Why not wear the hat?
And as soon as Filoni thanks the Apple II team, and
Right back.
He invents an iPhone, put the hat back on.
wait, is that what he was?
What?
They named to thank the Apple II team.
Apple
Is that what it
Was.
was?
Yeah.
Was it the what's
Yeah.
was it, is the Apple II?
Apple
What was
II
it that
team.
That's
named,
yeah, that was
Or
it.
was it the Mac?
but it was
He refused to.
he
refused
wouldn't
to thank
thank
the Mac. Or the
is
Mac
it the
team.
Mac or the Apple? It was the Woz kept getting on
Mac
him that he
2? Wait,
wouldn't
Yeah.
thank.
something to Mac 2? Apple 2?
Remember that? You didn't see this Jobs
What?
movie
I don't know.
with Fassbender.
Now I'm gonna have to pull up the clip and see if I
We'll
Pulled
just
that
call
out of
just
thin
call
air.
him
I
Seth.
thought it was the Mac team
The Mac
might have
2.
been the Mac
The
team, or was
Macintosh
it when they were
team.
making the Mac?
It was something
because he was
Two.
talking about how it failed the Mac because maybe it was.
Yeah,
It
he was
was
talking
two.
about I don't want to remind them of a failed
Yeah,
product, and we're launching our biggest
Yeah,
thing.
loaded,
And he's
isn't
like, yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
yeah. What else? What else we got before we wrap?
I got.
Mike, what do you think about
Mm.
Kathy Kennedy retiring? Is that
I think she should. Honestly,
what? Get
I just
out
think
of
Dave
here.
Dave
Ooh,
should
let's
be
hear
the
it.
head guy, cowboy hat and all.
Really?
I think
What is
wants
your
him to ride in on a horse?
He's
What
gonna
is your
ride it on
his
favorite
wolves.
these sequel
he goes
kids?
full cowboy boots, all of it.
He
Ooh,
does.
I
He
like.
does.
He's
He-
saying lean into the
he already
western
wears-
inside of Star Wars.
He already
Lean
wears
into the
the-
Get
western.
Kathleen out of
He's
here.
just gonna
Just
walk
into
He
it.
already
into
wears
investor-
roach killers all the
He's
time.
gonna walk.
He's gonna
into-
talk like Clint Eastwood, like I've predicted.
No, he's gonna walk into investors meeting dressed as Cad Bane.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So,
Do you know what roach killers are?
What?
Roach killers?
No.
Those are pointy-toed boots. He wears those.
Oh yeah.
He's got
With a
Yeah.
little silver tip
Uh-huh.
on them sometimes.
Yeah.
What's your
Little
favorite
spurs
Kathy
on
Kennedy
the back.
movie?
Ooh.
Here's how we play the game. Pick any movie that has a 19 in front of it,
Home.
19 something, and it's probably Kathleen Kennedy
That's true.
produced.
Jaws has to be.
Boom.
Jaws.
Jaws. You've got.
Actually, I don't think she did Jaws. Pick another one.
E.T.
I don't
was
think she
lied
did.
to.
No, I think she
I
was
was lied
after that.
to.
But close.
It's true.
Oh,
Uh, you've got. Who's a number? Right. E.T.
It's a fall.
Ooh.
Everything in the 80s,
Goonies.
Spielberg 80s is
Home Alone.
all
Goonies is
Spielberg and George Lucas and
Did she not do Raiders, but she did
Columbus
Temple and
and-
Temple.
Yeah. I can't remember if she
Yeah.
did Raiders or if she just did Temple
George
and Last
did
Crusade.
George did Raiders.
George did Raiders.
Yeah,
she
George
might
was
have
part of it.
co-produced.
George
She
did
might have
Raiders.
co-produced
Co-produced on that. Anyway,
Anyway,
Also,
Wait,
how
I
about
don't
the fact
wanna
that
see her
George,
go.
like he obviously we know that Indy is part of, under the Lucasfilm umbrella and everything,
Yeah.
but you almost forget that George's genius that he also wrote he came up with Indiana Jones because you think of Spielberg is
Yeah.
the director,
that's
except for this is
George.
George's. This guy came up with Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
yeah, it's
No,
just so
It's
great.
amazing.
just you're like, oh, this is two of the greatest franchises ever.
Until this day, they're still carrying the Lucasfilm.
That's right.
So good.
Yeah.
Couple
What else we got?
quick things
Before
here.
we wrap?
Quick
Yeah,
things. Kathy had some comments about the future of Star
Let's
Wars
play
film.
Starfighter.
Let's play Kathy or not Kathy.
Starfighter.
You give us.
I'll give you a quote.
And we have to say
Ryan
Kathy
Gosling.
or not
Okay.
Kathy.
Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling.
Well, yeah, we'll say. Is this a Kathy
ready.
quote
Or not my Kathy.
or
Not
okay?
my Kathy.
Not my Kathy.
Or not my Kathy.
Not my Kathy.
This is okay. Kathy or not? Kathy or not my Kathy?
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Yusa mightn't be saying that. Kathy or not
I
Kathy?
could just do that.
Not my Kathy.
That's the successor. Is Jar Jar Binks?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I mightn't be saying that.
Which is actually George Lucas. He was the original.
That was the original. Kathleen Kennedy addresses the future of Star Wars during the screening of the first print of A New Hope.
my Kathy.
And she said, I really think that
This was in
now...
London, the one they found this
Yes.
old print in there.
And she came to... She wanted to
Called it
be
a
there...
miracle that it was even showable.
Yeah, she wanted to be there at the.
Yeah.
She had said she wanted to be there at the showing of this because she didn't want people to think this was an illegal screening, and she wanted to know like
That's-
this is
that's kinda
Lucas.
It was
sanctioned.
legitimate and a show. I think I saw.
The
That we
show,
don't hate
but
the
it was
original.
and to
before
show
all
that
the
they're
tinkerings
still
and
in
stuff.
favor of the originals.
Yeah.
George
They're not.
said
They're
that-
not anti-George.
George
She
said
even
we
had some
never
quotes
should've
about
said
like George tinkered with it over the years. So
Yeah.
you go like he had a relationship with it, where he tinkered with it, but we love it, and sometimes stuff gets forgotten over time as to what it was, and just want to see it.
Yeah.
Her quote about future of Star Wars. I really think that now we're in a position where it's broadened the possibility of stories and filmmakers we can bring in to tell stories that mean something to them. It doesn't necessarily have to connect to every little thing that's been done in Star Wars. It can actually be a standalone story that then builds into many, many other stories. Starfighter.
Yeah.
And when she was talking, so she talked about Starfighter
She
at this
mentioned
thing.
The excitement with Gosling.
He's just
Yep.
going to be a starfighter. That's
She
what he's
talked
gonna
about
be.
it.
He's a fighter.
It is.
Yeah.
She
Pilot.
announced in this same thing that Starfighter begins shooting this September,
Wow.
and that they are currently casting right now.
Ziono. It's just
great.
gonna
And she
be-
said, and she confirmed again, starring Ryan
And
Gosling,
it is,
and it's this
She
September.
confirmed that it is a musical.
It's a musical. Yeah.
musical.
Well, she said we saw what they did with Wicked. Wicked is a
We
hit.
saw what
Dancing
Ryan
to
did with La La
space.
Land.
Gosling will be green.
We
Saw
saw what Ryan did with La La Land, and we
That's
said,
it.
well, "Let's get this Starfighter in some tap dancing shoes."
I'm a force-sensitive man.
Let's get Goldblum in Star Wars.
And I've got the Death Star plan.
So I heard something. So Tony Gilroy, I was reading it. This ties into what this is saying. So
Of
Tony
Andor
Gilroy,
fame.
Yes, Tony
And
Gilroy.
other-
I actually
some other stuff.
recorded a video earlier, and I was going to play it before the podcast, and I forgot. But I'm not going to play it live on the air. It was him during an interview that he did with Star Wars Explained.
Yeah, yep. Saw
And
this.
he was interviewed at Star Wars. Alex and Molly Damon, Star Wars Explained. They got invited with some other these podcasts to go to ILM and to Lucas to the ranch
Oh,
and
Yeah.
to go on this tour and
because
then
they
to sit
don't
down,
hate the franchise.
exactly
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
down and to sit with Tony
And
Gilroy.
neither do
for-
we, if you're watching.
Love it.
They did a 30-minute interview with Tony
Oh,
Gilroy
that's awesome.
and got to ask him a ton of questions. And Tony Gilroy had a great thing that ties into what Kathy said here. They said, now having done this, what is your advice to like any other filmmaker who wants to get into Star Wars, or like, do you have advice, or like, what would you say to someone like another filmmaker who's thinking about taking this on? Because I know you said it's a massive thing.
Don't.
And Tony said, part of his answer is in there of not like don't, but he said like just know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Because like we had to create everything, like especially when doing like an original idea.
That's
It's
right.
like
you can't use sets.
there's nothing because like,
Because
you
you
can't
can't-
we
everything has
shoot
to
it in
be
New York.
modified.
Okay, well that has to look like Star Wars New York.
Yeah,
Like it's
modified.
completely
Oh,
different.
man.
But he said,
Yeah, everything.
well, he said, well, first of all, I do want to point. He said, first of all, I do want to point out that it frustrates me and everyone who worked on our show. We hate it. So I just wanted to look at the camera and say this. We hate it when any of you try to put a wedge in between what we did in Andor and the rest of the Star Wars stuff. We're not separate from them. It's not Andor versus them. I love a lot of the shows. I love a lot of the stuff that Star Wars has been doing. And we are in there with them. We're a family. And he said, I don't get it. And to be honest, any of you that do that are just internet trolls and are doing it for clickbait. And honest, and like he just like literally put his foot on them and was like,
Love it.
That's
Don't-
not Gilroy.
but he was like, don't lift us up to put other things down.
That's
You
great.
can like multiple things.
Good.
And he said, and in
That
that
said, there's nothing as good as Andor.
no, but this was he said. He said, like,
We're
for
way
instance, if I was to come back and do another project, I would do anything close to what I did with Andor, like as far as the tone and anything. Because I think Star Wars shouldn't be this all the time. And it was a great thing. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, oh, everything should be like this. Even though I
No.
love Andor. He's like,
Oh,
no,
it'd be
that's what makes
depressing.
Star
Yeah.
Wars is, he said, whether it's a comedy, whether it's like horror, romantic, this like hopeful. He's like, there are things. What's great about what George Lucas did is he created this template and he created this galaxy, and there are billions of possibilities and billions of stories that you could go to, and ours worked, but it is like, thankfully people have really responded to it. But it's not because I was trying to make a statement on this is what Star Wars should be or anything. I was telling a story that was interested to me that just happened to fit in Star Wars. He said, this is a story I've been wanting to tell, and I didn't know until the opportunity came around that it was going to be a Star Wars story. And so this is what she's saying is, we don't need to necessarily go about our Star Wars in the way of, this is a person who likes this character, tell a story about that, or this is a character whose story needs to be told, tell a story about that. Instead, sometimes it can fit that. But Tony Gilroy wanted to tell a story. He talked about this. He wanted to tell a story for a long time, for years. He said for most of his life, he's been fascinated with revolutions. He studied history. He studied, and he wanted to make a show that has comments on fascism, colonialism, rebellions, the way that they start, the messiness of them, where they fall apart, all this stuff. And he said, this is a comment on wars of the future, wars of the past. This is not even, he said, and also it's not even like some people say, like, oh, it's meaning this particular cultural moment. We've been working on this for years. So like, read into whatever you want. But this is something that I've wanted to tell a story about this because I've been fascinated with revolution for most of my entire life.
Star Wars,
and so when Kathy says,
Star Wars fit the bill.
when Kathy says get a filmmaker or get someone who is interested in telling the type of story they'd like to tell, then you think story comes first versus we have just chosen popular character A and now we need a filmmaker to tell a story about A.
Yeah.
That's where we get into, oh, well,
I
we
think
rushed into
that's-
this character, we rushed
I
into
think
that.
that's
Where
why
Tony
I'm
Gilroy's
excited.
like, Andor is not even a
Yeah.
super popular character coming off of Rogue
No.
One. And we turn
He
this
was a
into
backdrop for
one of the
this
best
great
Star Wars
Yeah.
things we've ever gotten. So
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. I like his perspective on it, and I like him telling the trolls to
Tell
get
a
out
good-
of here with that.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that's
And
awesome.
I think that is part of that is what excites me for Starfighter, because it sounds like Sean Levy is doing that. Like, it's like, it doesn't seem like Disney was like, all right, we're making an Old Republic, and
Yeah, let's fill in the
we know
gaps
we
here.
want to fill this in, so let's get the actor, let's get the director, and come make this story
Yeah.
and write a story that fits this thing. It sounds like this kind of came out of nowhere. We weren't expecting this story. And so with that, it sounds like this is something that he's excited about. That's a story that was created. Now they're taking the story and putting it into a Star Wars movie as opposed to the other way around.
And not to take a shot at any of the other decisions, but that feels like the opposite of the Taika situation.
It does.
Taika's to this day doesn't have a script. 'Cause
Taika
he's like,
was
I
hot.
don't even like. And
Yeah.
they like hired him because he was a great, and I get why they hired him.
He's
Because
a good storyteller.
he has a great, he has
And
great
creative
taste.
mind, yeah.
and a great creative mind. They were like, we would love to see what he would do with Star Wars. He didn't come to them and say, I have a
I have an
great Star
idea.
Wars idea.
Yeah.
Here's my
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, you did Jojo Rabbit. You've been doing Thor. You're already in the Disney family because you
take your
crushed
thing
it with
and make
them.
a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
We'd love you to do a Star Wars thing. He's like, hey, I love Star Wars. And then 5 minutes
I'll get
later, he
to
asked
it.
Natalie Portman if she'd ever want to be in Star Wars.
You'll
She
be in
said,
the
oh, I was in
You should be in Star
those.
Wars.
He's like, oh, that's right. And then they go, uh-oh. He does love Star Wars,
let's
but
look for some of
okay.
those.
So he's
Yeah.
saying,
I
But yeah,
do
I
want
like
to
that.
ask, before we wrap, I want to ask Micah, did you have a chance to watch Andor?
A little bit. I missed like the last like 6 episodes of the.
Okay.
So I've seen a little bit of the
Okay.
second season.
So, well, actually, that makes it even more
Got
interesting.
some work to do.
Even more
oh,
interesting.
I have a
One,
question for him, too, after you.
One, you gotta finish it and get back to us. But what is it about the because like we were just talking, it does seem to be of a different tone than others. Is it a show that you find more intriguing to you, less intriguing than the sequels, the prequels? Do you like the tone of it from what you've seen so far, having knowing that it's not completed yet?
I just think it's a lot darker than the other ones. Like it's much more darker tone. Like we saw people just die. Like happened in Acolyte 2, where people just died a lot more than we're
True.
used to in Star
Main
Wars.
characters like,
Yeah,
oh, wait
yeah.
a second.
Like we had a
There's
big
no-
backstory on
Not
them,
a clone.
and
I
I mean, that's different.
but
yeah.
yeah, it's just way darker than.
Pace is different too.
Uh-huh.
It is
But-
not.
Did you find yourself like? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed
Did
it.
you ever honestly fall asleep during an episode?
No.
Okay, good. Because we would watch it pretty late when we watched
Yeah.
for the all.
I have, but that was just because
That
I
was
was so
'cause I was
tired.
tired. Not anything the show. I'm just tired.
Love the show.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, good.
I also
Yeah.
have a question
I was
for
just
Mike.
curious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars. When you think of Star Wars, future of Star Wars movies, do you? Because especially because I think you're the best to answer this with your age and having just kind of been the prime age of the sequel trilogy coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and this being your first really set of Star Wars movies. I mean, obviously, in there also Rogue One and Solo came out, but this recent wave of the Disney Star Wars movies, of you being able to go see like a movie in the theater for Star Wars, do you, as far as time period and things that interest you, would you be more interested in seeing a continuation of Rey, Finn, whether it's like an episode 10 or just like seeing what comes next for Rey, what comes next for Finn, and maybe some of the other characters? Does that excite you? Are you more excited thinking about that, or more excited about or just like a blank slate of introduce a new story, whether it's a starfighter or
Somewhere
anything else?
in the
Like,
galaxy.
do you feel like, oh, I'm really itching to see this, or I'd
Yeah,
like to
what
see
are you
something
looking
different?
forward to most
What are you
if-
thinking?
if
Well, I
you're-
really love the sequels, but I don't think they should go back to those. I think they should branch off more and not get rid of that story, but just do something else.
Move on to something else.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's what Starfighter's going to be.
Like
Mhm.
essentially wrap the Skywalker saga
Uh-huh.
as they promoted it,
And then move on.
but move to a different.
Mm-hmm.
I think the
Sure.
thing with the sequel trilogy that's always great, because Star Wars has shown this in other areas, is that you can always come back to it later.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
Like,
Yeah.
especially if
Actually,
you feel
it's
like
it usually has better response.
that's the
when you
thing.
come
Is
I
like,
back to it later.
especially
so.
if you feel like it ended on a note that people aren't the
Yeah.
most satisfied
Yeah.
with. Like, meaning I know that some people have very strong opinions of Rise of Skywalker and feeling like
Yeah.
some people really like Force Awakens, some people are mixed on The Last Jedi, and then I think Rise of Skywalker has the lowest Rotten Tomato score.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I do feel like it's, especially maybe because they've been, I wonder if it changes because they've been away from the movies now for like 6 years or so.
Mhm.
If going back to that right away feels like, oh, then, I mean, I know obviously Mandalorian, Grogu, and Starfighter are the next two.
Mhm.
But if the Rey one keeps getting
Sound like
pushed,
3 movies for a second there.
yeah, Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter.
Starfighter.
Maybe that's the
That's it.
that's next. That's
That'll
the
be
sequel. Mandalorian, Grogu,
yeah,
and
I think
Starfighter.
the time when time goes by, the reason we come back is because there's a good story to tell.
Yeah.
Rather than let's just make another one. It's facilitated by some way. Hey, I got a great story, and it fits with that.
And there is a hunger from the fans to.
Over time, they
Over
want to go
time,
back
yeah.
and visit those.
Other question for Micah. Well, really all of us, but thoughts on Mandalorian and Grogu. I know we've talked about it. Is that something? Knowing that's the next Star Wars movie, is that something you're excited about?
watched
looking
all of
forward
Mando.
to?
I saw that.
Seen all of Mando.
Is that something you're excited about for it being the next Star Wars movie when we haven't had a movie in a while? What do you think?
Mm-hmm. I really loved most of Mando series, but last season was not the best.
Hey, watch your mouth over there.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Listen,
You're saying
easy.
exactly what I said on the last podcast.
Well, the subtitle for Mando and Grogu is Return of Lizzo, so buckle up.
I'm excited then.
that's the
Is it Jack's?
that's the trilogy.
Is it? And then is the sequel is
Black Strikes Back.
Black Strikes Back?
Mandalorian and Grogu, Starfighter and Lizzo.
Return of the Steve. Wait. Lava
Steve-a.
chicken. Steve lava. Remember, have you heard that song?
I've heard the song just
Stop
being posted on the internet.
lava. It's a great
I've
song.
seen that on the internet, and I am right now. It's fresh on my brain because Isaiah's watched a little Princess Peach, him singing Peaches. Peaches, 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 peaches. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Love him. It's funny.
anything
yeah.
else you guys got?
So Mando and Grogu is
Grogu.
I'm excited. I hope
See it in
they
theaters.
change it from
Starfighter will go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll
I
go.
think that I think that it's exciting that Star Wars is getting close enough that we're even getting a comment from Kathleen Kennedy like we are casting right now for a Star
We're
Wars
casting
movie.
and we're filming.
Now I know
and
obviously
whatever,
Mandalorian Grogu's already in filming
For something
process
new.
filming.
Yeah.
Let's make
I'm
one
excited.
prediction. For Starfighter, will there be a crawl?
I think yes.
I think
there
there
should be.
will.
I
there
think
should
yes.
be.
I think that
think
them
there
going
will.
away from the crawl
Mhm.
was
What
a
do you think?
mistake.
I hope so. I
I
think
think
they
it
will
was
do
a mistake.
Because
we
I
never get it anymore. Now, if it's
That's the
only
thing.
Skywalker, we never see it.
Mhm.
and
I think they
that
should.
I think they underestimated the fact that we don't necessarily have to just associate. I associate the crawl with Star Wars more
Me
than I do with
too.
Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, and I
Rogue
think
One
that
is
they
the one
wanted
And
that's
to.
honestly, I'll go
Yeah.
as far
Rogue
as
One marked
saying
it.
I'll go
Yes.
as far as saying even the music. I
Mhm.
don't associate.
Force
There are
theme,
some
man.
that like yes, Leia's theme, yes, Force theme. Like, there is some associations to those characters,
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean that you just write it off and you can't utilize
We talked
that,
about that.
because that is
You never
part
hear
of
the
the
song
feel of Star Wars. Is that when I turn on Lego Star Wars and I'm out to play and I hear that music, I'm thinking I'm in the world.
Battlefront, same
Yeah,
thing.
it's not-
Battlefront 2's had
It's
a
not
big
because
surge.
necessarily
Same
Luke's
thing.
on screen. It's the feel.
The
It's
song feels like
it
that.
is what is Star Wars. But yeah,
By the way, this is another thing I screenshot. This is real quick as
Yeah.
we're wrapping. Colin Trevorrow, who did the episode 9 script, Duel
Yeah.
of the Fates, that then it was scrapped, and
yep.
Yep.
he had
Somehow
a
he's
recent
returned.
he had a
Somehow
recent interview with Hollywood Reporter and was asked about it. I think maybe because of I don't know if he's involved in the new Jurassic movie or not, but because Jurassic, and he was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
part of the reviving of the Jurassic
Yep.
stuff with
Mhm.
Jurassic World. Colin Trevorrow, the initial director of Star Wars Episode 9, says it has, quote, been a struggle to watch Star Wars since Duel of the Fates did not come together, but that he will soon watch Andor. Quote, my son and I have both decided that we are finally going to watch all of Andor this summer. But I
Wow.
do have to be honest.
Bitter
It
much?
has been a struggle for me to engage with anything Star Wars related just on an emotional level.
Wow.
So to the team that made Andor, I guess I can say that you're the ones who have finally brought me back in. But I understand
Wow.
being personally hurt. Like you,
Because they didn't like his story.
because they didn't like the story. But I'm like,
I'm not in Hollywood, but didn't that happen to everybody every single day?
I was like,
Yeah.
Maybe not.
maybe change or like
Maybe
when they
don't
give you notes.
undercut the entire philosophy of Star
Maybe
Wars.
don't. I don't want
I
to sound
don't know.
harsh, but don't misunderstand the Force completely.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
don't have Ray's big revelation be her talking
Just
to
do it,
Yoda
Zach.
and saying,
Evil is good.
we were.
Just do it.
Embrace the
Evil
darkness.
side.
Kill.
Do what
You
Zack
should
Snyder
have.
did and
Like,
go
it
make
does not
Rebel
show
Moon.
that.
That doesn't make sense.
Just do what Snyder did and go make Rebel Moon.
Did you guys ever see Rebel Moon? I never watched
I
it.
never
I
saw it.
watched the first one.
How was it?
It was all right. It's
I just feel like you're not watching Star Wars.
yeah. It
Constantly
feels.
aware
It
that I'm not
honestly
watching
feels.
Star
So,
Wars.
It's supposed to be grittier,
it feels
though, right?
So different.
Yeah.
It doesn't even like the fact that was even kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
That like, oh, this is.
You wouldn't
the
notice it.
story
It's just
of
because there's
Star
like a
Wars, but it's
lightsaber
like-
thing in it, right? It
and
kind of
it's
looks like
not even
lightsabers.
that. Yeah, and it's not even that. It's just. It feels so different.
I love that you can't even use a sword with the light on it anymore. Nobody's allowed to do that. If
No.
you do it, you could.
You
As
could,
soon as
yeah.
it was like, that's cheap Star Wars.
I just love
Yeah.
Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah.
That's it.
A sword with a light on it.
That's the
anymore.
thing is like George. People don't
Can't even
realize
go
that
like
George
this
made up so many
in
of
a
those
movie.
types of
Like,
things.
You're copying Star Wars. You
Yeah.
can't go like this.
Yeah.
None
That's
of
the
that
thing is
stuff.
people don't realize that George made up so
amazing.
many of those type of things that you're like,
Yeah.
wait, those didn't
Droid
exist
wasn't a
anywhere
thing.
else.
Even
Droid was a
like-
word that he
even
made
like
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the thing.
superhero movies where they can just like pull things to them. You're like, oh, it's like the
Use
Force.
It's like he owns it.
Oh, it's like the Force. Yeah.
That's the definition
Yeah.
of something
It
good when
is,
you
it is.
define it without even trying.
Well, there we have it. Great
Micah,
episode.
where can the people find us?
Micah?
No, I'm just kidding. That's-
The
Micah, thanks for joining.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks
I think
for
it's
joining.
great having Mike on here.
I think
do
it is.
too.
I say he takes my spot. I want to retire right now. But this is just because I got a text. I
Executive
got
number 3.
Kathy's
Here we go.
job.
Executive number 3.
I got Kathy's job.
Are you kidding? I saw you
Yes.
looking at that. I thought you
Well,
were checking your
I was
heart rate.
looking
Her
at it.
retirement job.
Dave said, this is
Her
interesting.
retirement job.
This is
Retire-
interesting. Listen to this text from Dave. It's
Right.
very interesting.
McClunky.
Dave. This is
McClunky
straight from
means
Dave.
curtains.
Means curtain.
Hi, it's Dave. And then
Give
he
me
puts
my
in
hat
parentheses in the cowboy
Stop
hat.
talking about my hat.
Give me my hat
He
back.
said,
Love.
loved the voice.
Oh.
It's actually accurate.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness.
I'm working on a Clint Eastwood type of a thing. Glad you
This
noticed.
is a great watch quote. You're not even scrolling.
Is this
He
our
also
outro?
says,
Huge, its
It's our
font's got to be
outro.
tiny.
he says, Well, it's a screenshot.
Screenshot.
It's on his notes page. He was
Gotcha.
obviously very worried. He wrote it up,
Yeah.
edited it, sent it to me.
Yeah.
The shorts are short for a podcast.
Shorts are short. So he's not only he's actually
He's
watching
kind of actually
too.
getting us. Yeah. I was gonna read it off the mic. but
You
I
thought
forgot.
Eli was
Some
bad. I'm
business-
And then
next.
he said,
Still know
he
how
said,
business is done.
You thought
Who
Eli
needs-
surprised you. I'm next.
he said, "Who needs a mic when we have a Micah?"
Oh.
P.S. Do you want my job? Oh,
Oh my God.
that really came full
You mean
circle.
the other one or
Whoa.
this one?
He said,
The other one.
he said, Micah takes your job.
Creative.
You get the keys to Lucasfilm.
That's awesome.
P.S. What's a movie? Oh,
What's a movie?
man. He keeps
What's
saying
Darn
that.
Dave.
He keeps saying.
That's
I haven't had made
that's my
one.
new bit on Filoni.
We'll wrap with Filoni.
That's my new bit on Filoni, and I actually really like Dave. That's my new bit on Filoni. He
What's
doesn't even know what
What a movie.
is that. Not only he's not made a movie, he doesn't even know what movies are.
There you have it. Thanks for tuning
Oh,
in. Micah,
man.
thanks for joining us. We'll have to get you
That's
back
great.
on here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
lot
we
of fun.
appreciate it. If you made it this far, why are you watching? Don't
What are you
forget to
doing?
like the video,
What's a
subscribe
movie,
to the
brother?
channel, smash the notification bell, tell a friend about us here at Star Wars Guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Do it.
What's a movie, brother? Why is Filoni?
May the force be with you, brother.
Why is Filoni a wrestling heel? What's going on? Heel. He's a heel. He's a villain for sure.
That's what they call him, right?
He's a wrestling
heel.
heel.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Oh,
That was
my
good.
Goodness.
that was good.
fun.
When's the cast actually start? Were we live?
That was practice.
Let's do the whole. Okay, we're starting now.
go. If the real one's coming.
That'll be great the night
I set it
of.
for 8:45.
That'll be great the night of.
For 8:45.
Wow.
I love it.
This is
I'm not gonna
just
turn.
great.
I'm just gonna keep running.
Oh yeah,
Just keep
sorry.
it going.
Walk out.
I'm just
They
thinking
just-
of.
We'll be back next time.
See you next
I
time.
just
See you.
can't believe.